Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Leadership and Politics with Dr. Abraham. On the show with me today is #1 Wall Street Journal bestselling author, Dr. Dave Jennings. Dr. Dave, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you today.
It's really nice to see you. And I'm so excited because now you have a book called The Pit of Success: How Leaders Adapt, Succeed, and Repeat. If you may kindly take me into this book, give me the premise of the book and we can continue from there. What is it? What is it all about?
The main premise of The Pit is that in order to succeed, all of us need to do something that is beyond our experience. And when we face that thing that's beyond our experience, the most logical and normal response is to try and go back to where you've been. We don't like not knowing. We love being the expert. And so we want to be able to go into that space, but it's just hard. And so the premise of the book really focuses on when we're in that space, what you need is learnable. We bring in great brain research to really show that whatever pit of success you're facing, your brain can rewire and adapt. What you need is something you have, and you really can face pits beyond your experience.
What you need is what you have. So this pit has several manifestations. Can you take me into some of them?
So when we're doing anything beyond our experience, one of the most common things we have is this doubt, wondering if I'm really enough. We've been an expert, we've been good at things, we've actually succeeded many times. But if I were to give you something right now that is truly beyond your experience, you're going to have this time where you're going to go, can I really do this? People think that I'm good. And now you're sitting there and you know you're not.
Is this the imposter syndrome?
Oh, absolutely. So
okay.
You definitely get some of the imposter syndrome going because you really, you think you're supposed to be good and you're used to being good. But now then you really do not have the foundations to succeed at what you need to do. And that is the most normal and logical place you can be. And to have those doubts is the most normal and logical thing that you can have. You should be in that space.
I like this. So now the leader or the individual achieved some success. He became an expert of sorts with his own forte, let's say.
Right.
He's called upon to be a guest speaker, be a presenter of sort. And the people's assumption is he understood other things or he has to play another role. Right. So is he already in, when he's successful he's in the comfort zone, is he in the pit or he hasn't entered the pit yet? When does he enter the pit?
You enter the pit when you can no longer rely on the expertise that you have.
I see. Have you ever scaled the pit? Is like, did you size it or measure it? Or are they in the beginning of the pit, in the middle of the pit? When does it happen?
The moment you cannot rely on the skills that you know best is when you're there. And it could happen, you could be pushed in, like you're forced in because of an organizational change. Or you could jump in. You could say, I want a promotion or I want a new skill. And so it could be involuntary or voluntary, but either one of those can put you in the pit and make you really wonder if you have what it takes, and then bring up all those doubts that you mentioned with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Just really wondering, am I enough?
Well, how can you avoid or prevent the self-doubters that will put you into the imposter syndrome?
So, I don't know if we need to avoid them. I think they are
what do you do?
Yeah, I think the doubts that we have are the most natural place to start from. And to feel like, I shouldn't be feeling overwhelmed, or I should be better, or why aren't I feeling comfortable, actually makes it harder on us because now we have another level of expectations. So to accept that, I'm doubting and that's normal. I think that relieves so much burden. Now then, with that doubt, now I can start focusing on the things I need to learn and start working on rewiring my brain.
So self-awareness becomes an important part of the process?
Yeah, and just to realize, we have this concept, my co-author, Amy Leishman, she wrote about a lot on this idea of betweenness. And we incorporated that in the book. And the idea is that when we're between what we know and what we don't know, we often feel like we should be somewhere else. And yet, if we accept betweenness as a normal and logical space, the burden goes away. no longer is like, well, hey, I'm between jobs. Oh no. Or I'm between being an expert and between an expert. It's like, no, I shouldn't know. And when you accept betweenness, you now say, oh yeah, I should be lost. What a great freeing experience to know that I don't have to know, but I will know. I can rewire my brain and I'm going to figure this out.
So basically, embrace the situation you're in, the position, whatever you're at, that's fine. It's normal that you don't know, but you will
Right.
learn to know.
Right.
I
In
got
fact,
it.
embrace is the key word we really use there. That we talk about embrace the pit. And
Embrace
it's
the
really
pit.
just a code phrase for accept that you don't know and accept that you're going to figure it out.
So can you regulate the pit? Can you meaning reorganize the pit in a way that you overcome it and you dominate it? Is that something you can do as an individual leader?
Absolutely. And that's what we love helping people focus on is as you focus on clarity of purpose, we found that to be one of the biggest variables. As you focus on clarity of purpose, you actually start becoming master of pit, what pit it is. And so we really encourage people to take a step back and figure out the where and the why first. Because if you're here either because you chose to or because you're forced to, if you step back and first ask, where do I need to go? Why do I need to go there? It really empowers you to get in and face something you may or may not want to face.
Well, tell me some other variables.
So one of the other variables is figuring out what skill you need to learn. And this is one we really had some, I think, exciting things come from that is that we found that one, people tend to see the pit and all the skills they have to learn as overwhelming. And so they're like, oh, I got to learn everything. And basically the research showed that if you pick on things one at a time and go, what's the next skill rather than what are all the skills, you're going to learn faster. So you're far better off to say for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to work on X. And then after that, I'll work on something else. And we call these building blocks. Figuring out the building block you need next is really where you can accelerate and get through.
Are those techniques or thought process?
They could be both.
Both.
So it could be a mindset that I need, or it could be a skill set that I need. Either one of those is going to help you get through quicker.
All these techniques are in the book, are available,
Yes.
and you put those in the excellence. If someone will pick up the pit of success, they would really know what it is. You describe what the situation is, and you give them solutions to how to control it and master that pit.
It really, my writing style is one of pragmatism. And so I want the research there. I want the cool insights there, but then I want someone to be able to do it. And so every chapter is designed to give you the cool research and go, oh yeah, this really matters. And this is backed up, and then give you techniques that you can work on, throughout your life. In fact, I would hope that it would be the kind of book that you have on your desk and you just, every week or two, you're facing a challenge. You're like, how can I do that? And you'd see another option that you would consider.
So tell me about Amy a little bit. Let's give her a due acknowledgement. You mentioned you have a co-author. Tell me a little. Is this the first book you write with her?
Yes, it is. And really, I could not have gotten it done. Clients have been pushing me to get it written for a while. And until we paired up, I just couldn't get it through. And I kind of laugh at that. She has a mind that can really frame things. And so I would maybe do a draft of something and she would, tear it apart,
Nice.
give it back to me. And I'm like, you're right. And you just, when you get feedback that they're right, but you wish they weren't, because you want to be done. And she would push on that and then add something else. And it was a great partnership.
So it was a complementary partnership.
Yes.
That's wonderful. You're also a bestseller for another book. Can you name them?
Catapulted. So a while back, Catapulted, How Great Leaders Succeed Beyond Their Experience. And what's interesting is the Pit of Success and Catapulted are really in the same vein. The Catapulted is the narrative or parable version of going into the pit. So we don't talk about it. But we take you through a story where you can go through an individual who's thrown in and kind of live in their shoes. Whereas the Pit of Success is the research, the application. So they're really partners.
So basically, you are really on a mission here. You're creating a series of how to, from before, after, Have you ever thought about something after the pit? Another book, possibly?
I already have several things ready, and even some are started. So,
So that's
yeah,
something else.
yeah.
It's good. That's a good contribution. What else do you want to tell us about the pit? You need to say adapt. And then
So,
I have another term on repeat. So let's go and break down the title, because when you think of a title, which I know and you know, it's hard to come up with the title of a book. The pit, I love it, a pit of success. But now let's jump into how leaders, is this only for leaders?
that is our biggest struggle, is that
Mhm.
I live in the leadership world. That's, my primary work is with leaders. I've been in this space forever. And so we titled it towards leaders, but the concepts, uh, I don't think, I'm biased. I don't think there's anybody who could not read it and benefit.
Mhm.
Your kids could benefit. Your college student could benefit. It is about life, and part of that comes from. So I did my research in change resilience. I look at the way people go through really hard things and who survives better than others. And so that is underneath all that I do, is the ability to help people get through things that they wonder if they can get through.
Because I had a chance to look at it and I said, true leaders can listen and learn from it, but this book for everyone. And I wanted you to confirm that.
The subtitle is very, very intentional. We say how leaders adapt,
Tell me.
succeed, and repeat. And the whole idea is that this pit of success is an ongoing venture. You're going to adapt, you're going to get good at something, and then you're going to have to face another pit. You're going to have to adapt, succeed, and repeat. And so it's very much about the cycle we go through in life. And it is repetitive, and it is something that grows on you or grows with you. And so the relevance of the book does not end next year or next week or whatever. I guess we want that in the other order, but it is something that will apply 3 months, 6 months, 10 years from now. In fact, I will see clients that I worked with 10 years ago, and they'll say, Dave, I'm in another pit. And
I
they'll
see.
talk about the new challenge they're in.
So every stage has a pit.
Every stage when you're doing things beyond your experience. And so if things are familiar, if you're just tweaking something, it may not truly be a pit where you're having to leave behind. You're just kind of scaling what you do. But if it's beyond your experience, life is just full of both
Surprises.
desired and undesired pits.
Mm. What's some of the desired pits?
Promotions, marriage, children, moves, learning a new skill, all challenges we seek. Those would be it.
So the surprising one is still a new experience, and you're learning. Basically, whenever you attempt to learn something new, you enter into the pit.
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah, and
I love it.
I want to play a little on the undesired pits. There are other pits that are really you don't want. It could be a health crisis. It could be a relationship crisis. You could have a job separation, involuntary for whatever reason. And those you might go, well, gee, those are not really things that are, desirable and I want to jump in. It's like, no, but you can, once you have them, and I'm not saying you deserve them or whatever, or they're the right thing in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But once you have them, now you can make a choice. Will this be a pit of success or something else? Because once you're in that between state, whether desired or undesired, you could then apply the principles and help you succeed no matter what the situation is.
I love it, because there's like a concept I teach my students and also my clients, where we're not going to call the pit a problem. We're going to call it a challenge in life.
Exactly.
And when you are into that pit, the challenge, do you turn it into an opportunity or not?
Exactly.
So basically, you're telling us how to turn that into an opportunity.
Yes. And you become in charge, and it's the most freeing thing. And, I laugh. I obviously, I understand the pit probably better than most people. And there are times I'm in it and I'll say, I hate the pit. Because
what makes you understand it more than other people?
I've been spent the last 20 years researching it and applying it in corporations and watching people go through change and organizational changes. So I believe fully understand it, or mostly understand it. I guess we're always learning. And yet when I get in the pit myself, and there are multiple times in the year where I'm always like, I laugh and say, I hate it and I know I need it. I know I can use it, even though I'm struggling, and knowing about the pit does not release you from having to go through it. So yeah, you're going to learn the skills, but a lot of people are like, well, hey, now that I know this, can I skip the pit? I regret that is not the case. You're going to face the pit, and this is going to reduce the burden of it.
Acknowledge the pit, embrace it. When you're in it, you have to be self-aware of what it is.
Yes.
And move forward toward creating an opportunity out of that challenge you're in.
Right.
Is there anything else we need to add?
Well, there are other concepts. So we like to get into, one thing that makes a pit is the feeling that you're stuck. In one of the chapters, we talk about trading up. And the idea is that you could be this stuck or this stuck or this stuck, and that wherever you are, you can trade up, and you may not be able to jump to the top, but you can get out of it, and you can focus on what you can control rather than what you can't control. That is a major tool for getting out, is focusing on what you can control. And there's other aspects of trading up that we get into as well. Another big one that I really helps people move beyond stuck is realizing you have options. One of the fundamental reasons most of us feel stuck is we believe at some deep level that I don't have a way out of here. I don't have the skills. I don't have the money. I don't have something. And so when we really learn to create options, even if they're small, we take power over that situation. And then we are no longer stuck because we have options. And so learning that skill is a major part of what I really want to help people do, is an options mindset, is what I call it. Do you have an options mindset?
Let's talk about change agent and being within the pit. So the status quo is the comfort zone. A new event happen, a promotion or whatever it is, or sickness, desirable or undesirable, and something changing the status quo and put you into the pit. What part would you play as a leader? What should you know for you to not to get into another status quo, but to master this pit? In addition to what we covered,
I think one thing is to respect that people are going to go through the pit at different speeds and with different attitudes. As we have helped both the leader and the team members understand it, as team members understand the pit, they actually become a catalyst and a partner with the manager, because they'll go, well, we probably need to embrace this. So helping them understand that is a big deal. And I guess the other part of that is teaching your people that to go through the pit, to feel the loss, to feel the doubt, to wonder if you're going to do this, is a big role for a leader, rather than, just, hey, rah, rah, whatever. It's like, no, I went through it. Sharing as a leader the times that you've been overwhelmed, even sharing that, right now I'm having to do some things I don't know how to do, and being authentic with that can help people around you know that, we're all in this together. So respect for people being in the pit is a big deal.
Respect and resiliency.
Yes.
Do you teach resiliency ahead of time, or it builds up as you get into the pit?
So I actually, in originally writing the book, I was walking between resilience and the pit. Are they the same thing? And in many ways, that they're twins. They have aspects of each other. Learning to manage the pit makes you more resilient. There's a theory that going through hard things and gaining new skills then adds to your resilience skills. And so that plays out in this. So to me, very much the pit of success is about resilience, and resilience is about the pit of success.
I love it. Yeah, I kind of tapped on it, and I just wanted you to clarify it, because this is really teaching people leaders in general, leaders and people, to be the best they can be. True, they can have challenges in life, and true, they have undesirable experiences. But what you're telling us here, Dave, you're telling us this is something you can control and something you can overcome.
You have a brain that can rewire and learn anything. I walked away so excited with learning even more about how your brain's not wired to succeed or fail. It's just wired to repeat. And so once you get in there and change the wiring, it rewires to a new thing. That foundation and understanding that empowers you, that you know everything you need is learnable. And when you understand that, you've got freedom. No longer are all these things around you, oh no, what am I going to do? Even though we have those moments. But it's like you have a brain that is fully changeable. You can learn the skill, whatever it is.
I like the fact you used the term freedom. We're not talking about physical freedom here, although you may have it. We're talking about mindset of forward thinking, of believing that you can achieve anything you want. Right. Because you have control of it and you mastered it, or you can master it.
Right. And this isn't a rah, hey, go. It is, to me, a science-based appreciation that your brain is rewirable. And when you understand that, you've got freedom. You really do, as you say. If you understand that when whatever happens to you, it's no longer your enemy, it's your ally. You are going to figure it out. And you don't know, the challenge though is you don't know if you have to try 1 time, 5 times, or 10 times. That's one thing the brain research cannot tell us, is how many times you have to try something before you learn it. But we do know that if you repeat, your brain will
adapt to it.
Right.
I love what you have brought to us. Where can people find the book?
So right now, on any of the major outlets, Amazon, the ebook is available, and on Barnes & Noble, any of the major platforms. The actual book, even though I get the author's copy ahead of time, it is going to be available on those same platforms starting in August.
The Pit of Success: How Leaders Adapt, Succeed, and Repeat. And the author is #1 Wall Street Journal bestselling author, Dave Jennings. Thank you so much for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good day.